Alright, Diablo players, let's go over how can we get infinite mana or resources in Season 10 covering all of the classes. So, for starters, I want to go ahead and mention that this is going to cover all classes, so if it says like maybe mana or energy, spirit, it does basically the same thing. At the end of the day, it's infinite resources for all of the classes, again, infinite mana. So there's one big update that I want to mention, and a lot of people may have maybe played an older build, and in Season 10, they're like, what the heck, my build doesn't work anymore. And that is because they secretly nerfed lucky hit percent of resources on hit. Now the new rule is actually changed to have a flat number, and this got applied to a lot of different abilities, even the Paragon board with some of the other things like Static Surge. A lot of these got nerfed. Again, it used to be a percent of your resources, and now it's a flat number that does not kind of line up with it, and that's basically why a lot of builds do not work. But I'm here to solve it. I promise you guys, if you watch this video all the way through, no matter what class you're playing, I'm going to show you guys how to get your resources up and basically maintain. I also want to mention that one thing that is kind of a no-go is running like mana or fury on kill, or again energy on kill, essence on kill. It's not like a terrible stat if maybe it's on the Paragon board, but when you are competing for a slot in a role, like for example, like you can get mana on kill, or like in this case you'd be fury on kill if it's a barbarian. This mod is not really advisable, and the reason why it's not very good is because once you get up into the boss, unless you can one-shot the boss, well, you're just going to run out of resources again. So this one's kind of a double-edged sword. It's kind of a wasted stat. I would recommend you guys to actually temper a lucky hit chance to restore a flat amount. Again, this used to be a percent, which was way better, but now for most classes, this is going to be an overall nerf because usually you can go above 100%, if that makes any sense. So you will also have to stack lucky hit chance in order for this to work properly, but obviously in Season 10 there's a lot of newer updates, but that's like the biggest one, and that's kind of why maybe your build isn't working and you don't have infinite mana in Season 10 where you might have had it in the previous seasons. It's this thing that got nerfed. And then a lot of the nodes got nerfed that again give percent. I'll talk about some of the ones that didn't actually receive the nerf. There's like a couple that slipped by. One of them on particular on the Sorc is like the Frost Nova. That one just went by. But again, this is going to cover all classes. So a lucky hit chance to restore a flat amount. You can get this in several different areas. You could get it on the weapon, but I would recommend you guys to get offensive stats in the weapon. The better areas to get this is a temper on your rings. This is kind of the ideal spot. You could technically get it in your amulet as well, but the reason why I'm not recommending it in the amulet is you have way better options in the amulet in terms of the different temperings that you can put on. You can put on, obviously, most of the time, it's offensive, but there's also defensives and utilities that you can throw on that you cannot throw on in the rings department, because how it works on the rings, and the reason why I recommend it on the rings over anything else, is because the ring, you get one offensive stat. Usually it's some sort of like damage while some sort of condition, or you get a very specific damage type, or let's say you get like get core damage, but basically crit damage, vulnerable damage, anything that you're stacking on your character is generally what you're going to get, right? So this is very, very common. But then the second thing that you temper is going to be related to the resource department, and a lot of builds, this is where like it's just like a no-brainer. You throw it in right there. There's also getting cooldown on maybe your ultimate skill. That can also be a really good stat to get in your ring department. But again, this is the main area, and if you just get 2 of these, most builds, it should be able to solve it. But there's obviously a lot of people that want to play the Cax rune, which will then use all your resources, and you need another way to generate it. So you may need more than one roll, just as a heads up. It's not like, oh, you slap on one and you're done. Depending on the build that you're playing, this could vary here. But there are other ways while you are progressing to actually get this as well. Before maybe you get some of the mythics, there's a lot of things that I can recommend getting. So obviously mythics can actually help out with this as well, like the Ring of the Starless Skies. We'll talk about that in a second. But the easier way for most builds to kind of just quickly solve this is just temper on. Again, this is my biggest recommendation. But you can also get restore a flat number on an ultimate. This is actually pretty good for some of the builds that use their ultimates and they spam them, like the Necromancer, the Tornado version. You definitely want to run, instead of getting, let's say, that chance to restore, you would get some sort of resource when you cast your ultimate. So it's like casting an ultimate restores a flat number. And if you get this flat number high enough and you're spamming your ultimate with whatever build that you're playing, this does not become a problem at all, because you can infinitely spam it, because the amount that it generates needs to be obviously at equal or more than whatever your ultimate costs, right? So this is another quick way to solve it for some of the ultimate builds, so that's really good too. Again, this is what I would recommend. You can also get resource generation. So there's other ways to generate resource. Most builds will also have some flat numerical, like it's a flat number that regens per second, and you can get this on a couple areas. But if you have resource generation, you regenerate more percent of this. And again, you can get this in your rings and amulets instead of the lucky hit chance. That's also another option. But there's also resource per second. So going into resource per second over here, the areas that can roll your resource per second, again, we're just using Barb as an example, but mana, since it's kind of the same thing. So in the helmet category, you can get the resource per second. If you get a GA and triple masterworking, it goes up to 11, but I'm going to keep it realistic. Like maybe you just hit it like one time. That's still a pretty decent amount, right? Even if you get a non-GA, you know, just getting, let's say, 6-7 fury per second in several different spots, this honestly solves a lot of the mana problems with a lot of different builds. You can also get this in the chest piece, although when you progress in the game, I would highly recommend to get Shroud of False Death over just a regular chest piece, or maybe even a Chaos Unique in Season 10. And there is one good Chaos Unique that can instantly solve this, which we'll talk about. But resource generation, again, is kind of key here, and you can get this on your ring because that's 30% more resources that you're generating. And then you can also get the lucky chance to restore primary resource. I'm not going to really recommend to get this one inside of the gloves though, and the reason why is gloves is usually going to be attack speed, critical strike chance, and then whatever skill that you're using, like Hoda Barbarian, Fire Ball. If you're running Ball Lightning, which is a mastery skill, then you would get core skills. So I wouldn't recommend it, but it technically exists, and I'm trying to help you guys solve mana problems. And if you get these on your gloves earlier on and you need it, that's fine, but just expect to roll these off towards the end of the game as it's not as good. Another thing that you can do in general, there's a lot of uniques in the game that have what's called maximum resource. And this is going to give you, obviously, more resources, and there's a lot of builds that get more damage based on the resources that you have. But in addition to that, it gives you a more comfortable area where you can spam your skills before you're out, and then that restore a percent. If you do get a percent, that actually restores even more. That's why it kind of got nerfed. They've kind of power corrupt the game in a sense, especially with Mana Shield, with the amount that you generate. Generating any percent kind of breaks the game, but like I said, Frost Nova actually broke this rule because everything on Sorc got nerfed with percent, except for Frost Nova. Again, for some reason that one just went by, and they probably aren't going to be nerfing it. Well, at least this season. Maybe come around, we'll get some nerfs on it. But you can also get that Fury or energy, again, mana per second on your boots. So this can help out. Again, usually like with boots, like your ideal like rolls are going to be like movement speed, and then you can get as another one, you can just get Fury per second, or you can get your character's main stat, Vitality and Armor, great stats as well, to get extra resources here. And then as far as mythics go, I'm going to say there's pretty much two mythics can really help out with this. The Ring of the Starless Skies will give you a big amount. So let me go and show you guys like this. It's like 50% resource cost reduction, which is cutting your resources in half. Amazing. I get it, it's a mythic, but then on top of that, I've already talked about it, but Shroud of False Death, these two in combination can sometimes already solve all of your resource problems, but again, they're mythics. Now, the two runes here, like, keep in mind, you guys don't have to put every single one of these. I'm just showing you guys all the options, and you try to fit in whatever one that maybe you have room for, because maybe you're like, I can't swap my, helmet or gloves, whatever the case may be, or I don't want to farm the mythics. That's cool. The runes can actually solve this as well. There's two runes in particular that will be able to solve this. Now, as far as which one is the activator, I don't know what build you're playing, but the better ones in the game for the activators, right, are going to be the rituals that I can recommend are Ahu and Igni. These ones are just like pretty much active most of the time. Seer is also a pretty dang good one. It's just cast 5 skills. It does have a 3-second like cooldown on it, but basically those are the ones that I can recommend. Obviously, if you're playing an ultimate build, 100% throw in Xanarun, man. This thing just solves problems instantly. So those are like the runes that are like the activators that are pretty good. However, obviously we want to look at the bottom ones to restore resource. So there's actually only 2. That I can really recommend. Cax is seen in a lot of these builds, and this you can throw this in and obviously mix and match any of my recommendations, and this will also make you much better to recover your resource after it spends them all. But Lum is kind of the one where if you want to run it, it will restore those primary resources quite easy, and the offering is really low, so it's pretty easy to maintain this one. And then Yom over here also will restore your primary resource, which is pretty good. So the one that I would recommend the most is Lum, because this one usually has a much higher requirement for the threshold. It's 500 versus 5. Now, this one only restores 3.5. This one restores, well, much more, but obviously, again, my biggest recommendation, honestly, is Lum, but the other one is there. Keep in mind if you want to run that. And then there's a lot of Paragon nodes. So on the Paragon board, there could be Mana on kill, there is Fury on kill, there is Spirit on kill, Essence on kill. There's a lot of these. Now, I remember how I was saying like on kill is kind of bad. Like I didn't recommend getting like Mana on kill as a no-go. Now, I really want to highlight that it's a no-go on most of the rolls that you would get, let's say, on a ring, because on a ring it's usually attack speed, crit, and then some other like offensive stat. And you're much better off on getting this on the Paragon board, because when you're up against the boss, you're still going to have mana problems. So I wouldn't rely on it, but it is not that bad to get that flat amount on kill. But there's also a flat amount of 2 maximum energy mana. There's a lot of these on your Paragon board. This could also be done in the glyphs to get mana regeneration. I guess I could show you guys an example of this. Let me do this to be a good content creator. So there are some that you can run. Let me show you guys. This one, like for example, Unleash. So after you spend some extra mana, you gain increased mana regeneration. So that's like a % one that is kind of nice to have. And there's a lot of different glyphs, again, that can give you mana. You can always use the keyword, type in the word mana, and there might be some nodes that can work with it. It depends on your build. But also go into your skill tree, look at the top right, type in mana or fury. Let me go and type in mana over here. Where's mana? There we go. And you can see what gives you mana. This one over here is pretty dang good because it gives you, again, % maximum mana. And the reason why, this is particularly with the Sorc, but there's other classes that could give you some, like the Shouts on the Barbarian can give you extra fury. But this one, since a lot of people are playing Sorc, I'm just going to recommend this one real quick. It's hitting a boss with Frost Nova grants 100% of our mana. Even though I don't have it in my skill bar, I have it actually in a rune combo over here. Where we play the Thol rune, which then activates it. And if you have any points into the skill tree, it can work. But if you're playing like a Barbarian and you get, let's say, the Thol rune, it won't be able to have all of these mods because, well, it's not on the tree, right? So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, this one is so broken. It just kind of slipped by. It's 100% of your mana. And when you have 10,000 mana, well, it's basically just pretty busted. So yeah, that's one thing that, again, it probably will get nerfed. So if you're watching this in season 11, that's probably nerfed by now, right? And then also check your class's specialization. There's a lot of class specializations that can really help out with this. So like with Barbarian, if you're running like the expertise, there's a lot of rogue ones, preparation. Every single class, if you look at the Druid, there's actually so many. Oh my gosh, Druid has like it really, really good. But again, you can also get primary resource on your weapons. That's another role real quick. But I want to go ahead and go into like some of the other classes here, because like Druid actually has so many like resources. One, there's like chance to give you ultimate cooldown reduction, and then remember you can keep on activating your ultimate, although you can run the Menorach ring and just get infinite anyways. But there's a lot of these where like dealing damage has a chance to fully restore your spirit. This is pretty busted here. This is another one where I'd say kind of slipped by because they were doing some heavy nerfs on the resources. But with Rogue, there's preparation, where again, when you spend a certain amount of resource, it's going to reduce your ultimate's cooldown, and when you pop your ultimate with, let's say, Aftermath on the tree over here, again, you could type in like energy on the Rogue class, and you can see everything will be highlighted here. And there's Aftermath. Where is it? Okay, so this one gives you, okay, this is the heal. Okay, it's right here. Unto Dawn, is it? No, did they change this one? Okay, oh yeah, I was right. It was Aftermath. So after you use an ultimate, you restore 35 energy. It's a flat number, and you can actually get this on a unique as well. So keep in mind, certain uniques can kind of give you some extras, but like type it in, man. Like look at your character, type in energy, mana, fury, whatever the resource is for your character. But there is one thing that actually can solve it completely, like instantly, and you guys might have one of these drop already because you see it and you're like, oh, this is trash, right? It's actually not that bad for a quick solve without really having to swap too many pieces of gear, and that is Mother's Embrace. Mother's Embrace over here, which makes it so your core skills. Now, obviously, you have to play a core skill, but the condition is not that hard. It's if a core skill hits 4 or more enemies, and this can work if it is a skill that hits multiple times on a single target. Yeah, you can actually use this, and this could instantly solve it. Again, I would say this one is something that is a stepping stone. I would highly recommend replacing this piece of garbage. But like, it's really not that bad if you look at the stats, right? Like, you're getting attack speed, crit. Normally this rolls in a ring, by the way, so you can get it in a ring. But with the Chaos Unique, I mean, 72%. That's like so fast. That's like an instant solve right there. It gives you attack speed and crit. It even gives you lucky hit chance. And then all stats is not that bad. But what it doesn't offer in the category in the gloves is like your ranks to your core skill, which is actually pretty big, plus the damage multiplier that you would normally get. But it's just like a pretty decent way to quickly solve it, right? So use any of the things that we mentioned and you'll be good to go. If there's any other great suggestions, let me know down below. But yeah, this is how you get infinite mana in Season 10. It's particularly with, like, let's say Ball Lightning, or let's say the Death Trap Rogue, where you can run out of resources, especially with the Cax rune, and hopefully this will help you guys out. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, sub if you're new, and I'll catch you Diablo gamers in the next video. Peace out.